where we use tools to change our customers' life. So this is VServe in a decade, where what we achieved is more than the numbers that he's talking about. So out of 19,000 PIN codes that we have in the country, we are now covering almost 13,000 PIN codes. That's a very big achievement. And the workforce that we have today is around 1380, correct? So this is our organization strategy. We look at customer first. We definitely differentiate our delivery. We bring sustainable growth. The most important part is the leadership commitment. Today, all of us in VServe, the 1380 people that we are, we believe that we are the owner of this company and we take leadership as on stride. And our journey of SI for AI is very different. We wanted to help our clients to manage their intelligent apps. We want to bring industry-led services. Obviously, the invisible part, which is the key, where into security or digital workflows, mobility services, that is where we are into. So in nutshell, managing your edge to the core and bringing the AI tools and the clouds to come into transformation, that is how we are building our story of SI for AI. So we start the story on the AI-led ops. This is what we used to do. So every day when we meet our customer, the digitization that they are adopting is either on customer experience or bringing the operational efficiency. These are the only two things that we have to achieve with them. And in that, there is discussions happens either on number one, which is on IT operation transformation, that is make it more efficient and automated. Number three, where either people come from the world of DNB, which is digital native born companies, who wants to start in the new and scale up. And number two becomes where the IT meets business, where infrastructure, application, and the business outcomes that is driven by the business leads due to IT comes into picture. And today we as a service provider, as a system integrator, our goal is to align to these three thought process of the clients and bring digitization in reality. So digitization for operations, digitization for customer experience, we at the SI for AI is what we wanted to known for. This is a simple approach that we take. On the left-hand side is the support, which is the people part of it. The right-hand side is in the tools part of it, which is the AI or the automation that we bring in. The best part of our system integration services is that we are tool agnostic. While we work with 64 plus partners, but we are tool agnostic, and we have created our own service management in-house. We have created our own CRM in-house. We have created LOS, LMS, which is Loan Operating System and Loan Managed Services as an IP. We have created IoT 4.0, IoT 5.0, automated industry services for our clients. So beyond just BAU, which is runs on the support point of view by the people, and the tools which brings automation, we are transforming business with these services. So this is how we are trying to become a service partner of choice for BAU who can transform you into the new. These are automation-led, and I heard about KPMG, and there were a lot of discussions was happening, but I missed out a point that I didn't got in the forum is the service management layer. Today, be it security, be it data, service management layer is the most important layer, because this is the layer through which your business data, your IT data, your user data, your employee data all goes through. So the most important part of the automation that is about understanding how to make it provision effortless, right? So it can be, people call it a self-provisioning or self-provisioning portal. That is one area we focus a lot, because that helps us to create these SOPs, which in turn create the process. And that, if we automate, then the workflow automation comes into picture. Then, obviously, on the run side, the event management and the runbook automations gradually takes over. So anybody, any CIOs or any board meetings which I get into, where they ask me that managed services, you're taking over as a BAU, what is the automation you will build? I said, we will not build any automation on day zero. We will build a process, which will build a workflow, that will build an event, and that will create a runbook, which will be then automated, and then you will be automated, a kind of automated operations. And this is what we have done. We have made IT look so easy. We have brought it to the mobile device with the service management layer. Today, one of the largest banks in the country, in fact, the largest private bank in the country, is running with this. While I don't want to name it as FSO or any other things, but yes, today the CIO, the CEO, the branch manager, they exactly know by clicking in this mobile app, where is the problem. They don't have to go in RCA of 48 hours or 24 hours to meet. If the branch is down, they exactly know it's a link problem. If the branch is down, they exactly know it's an application issue. The branch is down, they don't exactly know there is the infrastructure issue. Where is the issue? It is there in the click. And we are making it absolutely mobile for any kind of business, because there was an insurance company I was talking to whose entire business runs on agents, correct? So the agent network, even the agent network which has to be managed by the IT people, for them this becomes very easier, because there are certain certain approvals process that they have to go through, a process management process they have to go through. They can do it on go, because these are businesses which can be 24/7 in nature for B2C. So that's how we do the BAU. That's how we change your life in a day. But how we secure you, and that's what very important. How we are making inside-driven managed security services. A very nice question asked by one of the gentlemen in the morning. I was eager to answer, but I could not. What we should do and what we should not in security is very simple. First, we have to know our business, the most important aspect of the business, which is data. Data for employee, data for business, data for partners, and we have to secure it. For that, each of the industries has their regulations. For that, there is a simple framework that we need to follow. It has not told us that you have to take a technology. It has not told us you have to take a tool. It has also not told us that you have to create a pool of service SMEs. It has told certain guidance, and with that particular framework, if we know how to operate, it can be a hybrid solution that we can make it. But it has to be inside driven, because this is more about audit. It is not about production. So in a nutshell, this is how a security looks at a work, okay? And everybody of you know, so. But how we bring resiliency, what we do very different from others, is very simple. While this is a lovely, representation where the security controls from the perimeters or from the data center branches or cloud, or the tools which is in the SIEM, SOAR, people call sometimes MDR, EDR, and then comes the service assurance piece, which is about manpower or resources or SME. The most important part where we are making the change is the GRC. We are the first company who, as an SI, has invested in DPO, because if I don't have a data protection officer, I don't have the knowledge to go and talk about what is DPDPA Act of 2023 or 2025 for your particular industry. So that is first move that we have done. Second move we have done, we have created a consent manager platform, because DPDPA Act is knocking at the door. It will come anytime to the industry from any regulations. So consent manager as a platform we have created. So once we understand as a human what is the SOPs that we need to follow by SEBI, RBI, IRDA, we can go on, keep on talking. We create the process, we create the compliance, we put it on the platform, and it is automated. And it comes with a CISO dashboard. It comes with a particular, I will call it as the tower dashboard. If somebody is only for perimeter security, network security, data security, application security, you can look at by that. It can go in the cloud level and tell you where is the port problem in the cloud, be it hyperscaler or be it your private cloud, okay? So that's the kind of services we are bringing, and that's where we are making the difference, because everybody knows about SOC, how to run. Everybody knows what is SIEM, monitoring, but just monitoring is not going to help us. It is, and I think it's jointly as a community, we both has to understand this, that it has to be outcome driven, which has GRC. And that is where the board is putting the investment for. So DPDPA and the GRC as a service which we have brought, that is making the change, and that has helped our life of our customers. And that is where we differentiate a lot. I just spoken about it. These are any kind of services around this we can implement, we can give it run, but please look at us from the GRC point of view, because if we don't have the knowledge of your industry, of the compliance, whoever is the best SI is, they cannot run the security. This is very close to of my charter. When I joined vServe, this has been 5 years. We were discussing, Raman, Sajid, on this, and finally it came into the picture. So while it's called Vi Cloud, it's basically vServe AI Cloud. And when it comes to AI Cloud, I also come from the background of a data center provider who was a cloud service provider. I was leading the business. They tend to discuss about GPUs. NVIDIA has played that game, and nothing against them. It's a very good friend they are. So, but infrastructure is not an AI game, because generative AI, a college pass out or a guy who is just coming out of university now can do a BA analysis much, much faster and better. He can make a PPT on the go. So it's not going to give us the business outcome. Generative AI has to be, or rather AI has to, or AI cloud outcomes has to be looked in 3 parameters. One, cost optimization. Is it building a cost optimization? Second, is it bringing a revenue growth? And third, it is bringing an operational efficiency. And it can be a mix of either of these 3. And on that note, the first thing that we understood, that which cloud is for which workload. It's like the horses for the courses, right? So there is elastic workloads where you need on the fly, by the hour, by the seconds, because JFM in our country is one of the most peakest time for most of the business, where their infrastructure need kind of ramps up. That can only be catered by hyperscaler. Even in some of the forum, if I come and try to sell my cloud, don't take it from me, because that's for hyperscaler, okay? The private clouds is for the fixed workloads, which is to be done with the regulatory data gravity, and also sometimes some of the applications which is pretty consistent, like SAP. Once you do the dev test, the production is pretty much known. And that you can put it on private cloud, and the dev test you can run. And a lot of, in fact, DNB customers who are getting the pinch of the billing, they went who started their journey in the cloud as the business, they have understood that they need dev test to go to market faster, hence hyperscaler, and they can come back to the production which runs their business on metering on private cloud. So this kind of understanding as a system integrator, we have understood and learned, and our approach to cloud for future will be hybrid. And we work with any of the partners, so that definitely can be made. But the difference that we are bringing is this. Very rare people will come and showcase beyond generative AI or a co-pilot discussion while they are also a partner. This is inbuilt industry-wise use cases ready. And these are just use cases which is ready, and some of the use cases is already live. And this is only driving 3 things that I started at: operational efficiency, cost control, and revenue growth. This is the only motto that we are driving, and this is how we are able to help you all to put your ROI or justify your ROI to the board. Then only this particular cloud services, or then only this, the AI in reality in India will come into picture. And my urge is, please, when there is a cloud discussion on AI, stop it and ask anybody that what is the use case it will drive, and what it means by dollar, what it means by productivity, and what it means by market share. I think these are the 3 things that we need to be very clear about. While we said a lot of things, right? This is the most important aspect. We talk about security, data is important. You talk about cloud or AI use cases, data is very important. And the first learning we had very hard with one of the largest steel company in the world, where we started this journey with them to create this use case. The data which was unstructured and so old, or I can use the word legacy, bringing them into the structured model was a huge, huge problem. And because first, if you don't structure, first if you don't make the unstructured and structured together to a data structure model, then it comes to a data repository, then it becomes a data ingestion, then comes data analytics, and then comes visualization. This is the journey of a data, correct? So if we are not following this journey, irrespective of I'm giving it on cloud or private hyperscaler, you will not able to build your LLMs. you will not able to build your data models, and it will not give us the use cases which we are trying to get for. So for our way of starting cloud discussion is first the delivery model, which workload for which cloud. Second, immediately on data, understanding the data, correcting the data, and putting it on the right shape so that the models, the ingestions, the analytics, the correlations, the visualizations can be driven. And that is how the outcome will come, and that is how the overall project of cloud can be successful. It cannot be positioned against a refresh. It cannot be positioned, there is a big word going on repatriation from hyperscaler to private cloud. It's not going to come. There is something going to hit very soon. We are also working on that called modular data center. You will hear it very soon. It's knocking at the door. So modular data center as a service will come and hit where repatriation will move towards there. Okay? It will be not towards this infrastructure. So that's why we have to move as a system integrator towards outcome-driven AI, where infrastructure can be an OpEx model because it might be used on a need basis also. So the beauty of our commercial structure is that we can give it to you by effort, because you might be using for data modeling or data development or model development, which is only by effort. So why you will pay for the entire year, and that to a costly GPU, right? So we are here for you to make use case matters. We are here for you to make ROI matter, and we are agnostic to anybody in the backend. But yes, this journey we have started with Nutanix, because we all know what is happening with Broadcom and VMware, how we can cover that with them. And obviously HPAI has given a lot of commitment to us due to our partnership for the last 9 years and bringing it to a shape. But definitely these IPs was built by us, and these are use cases which are live, which we can go and talk to you and make it ROI ready. While we spoke about people, we spoke about process, we spoke about tool. The most important aspect of this industry is attrition. And one of our investor discussion when I was part with Sajid and Raman, I was astonished to know that a company which is 9 years, 1,380 employees, our attrition rate is 2.5. And the investor he said it's wrong. He did a third-party audit, and he found out it is 2.5, where as per the auditor, our size of the company should be at 8.5. Now what I'm trying to tell here, we are in a mission. We are in a mission of maybe government calling it as Skill India, but we are in a mission of building a future kind of I will call it as a futuristic society, where people from the humble background who cannot afford education, we are bringing them to our Visav Academy. We are training them. We bring out 270 students every quarter, and they are out with this kind of technologies as a use case, and we offer them next 2 years with us. That's how we have built our organization. That's how the attrition is low. So there is a human touch, because people who is with you, knowledge will be with you. They will see the development and growth, and that's how a company becomes successful. So I will end in that note and look forward to meet all of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so very much, Mr. Anitosh. Do we have any questions, any inputs or thoughts that you'd like to share? Anyone from the audience? Okay, we have one. Can we just quickly pass the mic?
Hi, I'm Vijay. I represent Lyra Network. We are fintech. What inspired you, or what was the idea behind adding the governance GRC into the tool or solution which you are offering?
So you can.
I can tell it's one of the aspirations because of your company.
So you can use this one.
No, I will more comfortable.
Sure.
So, yeah, I think one of the aspirations was definitely your company, if I start with, okay? Because I know this company pretty well. But taking that on keeping that out from the light note, we understood first and foremost if we have to be in the security game, correct, where people are much ahead than us, okay? And I always believe in the philosophy which I keep on telling them, that if you're the last, you have to be the latest. And if you have to be the latest, you have to solve the problem, okay? And the center we are in, they came with the latest, which is into 5G. They didn't invent for 4G, right? So we understood the problem of the statement of today's CISOs is not, and today somebody was asking the right question. He doesn't know where to put the money. Board is just putting money. So if I am not going, and I was talking to one of the biggest banks, CISO, he was like, Anitosh, I don't know how I will see every day how my posture is changing in security. So it's a simple ask, it's a dashboard. It's an intelligence dashboard. Now, if I have to build an intelligence dashboard for a banking, in the same industry, if I have to go to an NBFC, in the same industry, I have to go to insurance. It's a different regulations. Now, we as a technology provider cannot know that, right? And that's why we took the industry guys as an SME into our boards, into our technology board, and we understand how the SOPs are. Obviously, some of the mentors who knew us, like manufacturing industry, that one of the largest steel company in the world, they helped me that this is how it should be, this is how the process are. Once we knew, once we implemented, it took us time. It took us time. But the moment DPDPA was coming in, right? Because see, it is going to, if we don't change the, on that side, and I'm sorry being lengthy because it needs to be put it, sorry. So if we don't change the, need in the technology on this side, the life at the end of the day is not a B2B. What I'm doing a business with a business goes to a consumer. It is going to affect us back only. It's a cycle of change. So DPDPA, if you look at the framework, it's very clearly written who is the data principal, which is you all, we all as an individual capacity. Data fiduciaries, which can be Shumaida and his organization. Okay, and data processor, which can be some, if I'm going through Make My Trip, then Indigo is processing, right? So if in these three areas, how data can be protected and what is the governance and regulations need to come in picture, if we don't know, I think we are not going to solve the problem. Because if we don't know what is must to have, what is good to have, and what is visionary, then we will all start from visionary and we will say this is where you are. We will put up a chart of 5 spider chart and tell you that you are out of 5 you are 2, because that is the best practice. So that's basically inspired us.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Let's have a round of applause one more time for Mr. Anitosh Haldar. And with that, I'd like to invite Mr. Shubhamay Chakrabarti, CTO at ABP Private Limited, to join us and felicitate Mr. Anitosh with a memento, a token of appreciation. Let's give a huge round of applause one more time. Indeed, a very riveting address right there. Thank you for sharing with us your journey that truly is on a mission of building a futuristic society. Thank you so much one more time.